Jesus James Angleton, the way you spin that story round. Always sharp, just like a tack when you're tracking the price of the dollar and pound. But drop the narrative, that thing that you inherited. Your history homos chariot just pulled up outside. Scott, William, Patrick on the scene, they're breaking up the subroutine. Something's crackling in your brain, MK Ultra make you go insane. Hey, don't you know we're only on the case for a good time, baby? Took a Rhodes pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby. Honey pots and psyop traps, you can trust the plan until you snap. Slop conspiracy everywhere. History homos clear the air. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Hey, history homos only on the case for a good time, baby. Took a Rhodes pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby.
And we're live. Welcome back to the show. Joining me this week is Patrick, as usual. And also joining us this week is Dan from Nice Podcast Stupid. Thank you for joining us again, Dan.
Thank you again, Dan.
Thanks for having me back. This is like another anti-hero. We did the Whitey Bulger one way back. We did Patrick Tomlinson way back when.
Major anti-hero there, by the way. Yeah. I will say this. Is that so? You approached me with this topic, and this is a little tip for any listener of the show, not and just any listener of the show. It does help if you're a pre-existing acquaintance of mine. But if you approach me with a topic that interests me on the show, I will have you on the show. Now, I've had Dan on the show prior, obviously, and he's proven himself to be a worthy participant on the show. But primarily, the thing that spurred us to get together here is that he sprung this topic on me, and I was instantaneously like, yes, right?
Yeah. I pitched a few things, and I was like, okay. It was all kind of lukewarm. Then I said Delorean, and you're like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I wanted to know what the hell spurred, what was so quick to,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you onto the DeLorean
Dan,
train.
what got you thinking about DeLorean that you wanted it that you pitched it to me?
It's a good question. Well, maybe like I'll take the long picture and then the short picture.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Short picture first. I was just trying to think of like who are compelling,
Yeah.
like a compelling American. I love American stories. I love, these just characters that could only be from our country, or maybe I guess it could be from other places, but just a uniquely American story that weaves in a lot of different things and has a little conspiracy attached to it. And you've got somebody who is just a larger than life character. And when I
Majorly.
started doing that in my head, I'm like, fucking DeLorean is a no brainer if you haven't done that one already. And as I read about it, I didn't know all the backstory. I'm of an age. I'm a few years older than you, Scott.
Yep.
But one of my earliest movie memories was going to see Back to the Future
Of
at the
course.
theater.
Yeah.
Every kid in the 80s. So, and people that are watching, if you're younger, you've obviously probably seen it on, HBO or Netflix or wherever.
VHS. It was like it was one of the
VHS.
first VHS we owned, I think.
Yeah. And it really is like from a movie standpoint, I don't think I'm like blowing smoke here. It's one of the most well-written screenplays of all time.
Yeah.
It's
Screenplay
just
is the key word there. Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny when they originally wrote the book, do you know what the time machine was supposed to be?
A fridge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, like a refrigerator or something. They're like, that sucks. Come up with something else. And somebody pitched the idea to the producers and said, what if you did a DeLorean? And the producer didn't even, he's like, yes, 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 yes. That would be perfect. Like it's very similar, like the idea with this. It just makes so much sense. It's sexy. It's just a uniquely American sort of thing.
It's futuristic. It has like this sort of alien, almost otherworldly look. Now, I assume everyone, maybe the younger people don't know the car, but again, this is the most iconic movie car I can think of other than like the Ghostbusters mobile or something like.
It's so iconic. Patrick Tomlinson had it at his wedding. I don't know if you ever seen the wedding picture of with his wife with the replica DeLorean.
Wait, did he purposely go to a place with it, or was he there and had to take a photo with it?
They did a coffee house wedding. They did it on the cheap, and they rented a DeLorean so they could get pictures. So they actually had like a company that had one, and they wheeled it over there, and
that is class right there.
Pretty ironic in retrospect to have a DeLorean, the time travel machine that you're wedding. But hey,
and it's stainless steel. And just lastly, and I'll just leave it on this just to put a bow on it. A lot of the stuff I didn't know as much about DeLorean. I learned a lot over the last couple of weeks reading about it and doing the research that we all did. And I gotta admit, I was kind of taken into his charisma. And the analogy I sort of use is he's almost like if you ever see the Simpsons episode, the monorail guy. He's like the monorail guy. He comes into town, he sells the monorail, everybody loves him, and then
that's an extent just for the nerds. That's an extended reference to the musical, The Music Man. Which is like originally starring like Buddy Hackett and like whatever. But anyway, regardless. But yes, the huckster traveling salesman kind of larger than life
but instead of Springfield, he went to Belfast and opened a car plant and screwed everybody over. He's definitely an interesting character.
I was going to say that you went to Ireland where they don't have The Simpsons, so they would not have gotten.
So it was a perfect audience to try to pull that act on. Yeah.
Like, who is this guy? I don't know.
But the story has everything you could ever think of. It's got sex. It's got drugs. It's just a 1980s story. He was the OJ case before the OJ case.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to ask you before we started, do you know who Mary Barra is? Does that name ring a bell to you?
Sounds kind of familiar, but no, fill me in.
Okay, Mary Barra is the CEO of General Motors. She was the first current CEO. She's been CEO for 11 or 12 years. First woman to be a CEO at a big three automaker.
She broke the glass ceiling of the 14th floor.
Yeah, no, that's
Yes,
the glass
yes,
windshield.
the
That
the
was
very famous 14th floor. And she's, one of the most successful female executives in the United States. She's on the board of Disney. She used to be on the board of General Dynamics. You could go down a lot of rabbit holes on that.
I bet, yeah.
The point being is, you guys, I'm guessing neither of you, you would, that name didn't ring a bell, or you didn't know who
Nope,
that was.
never heard of her.
But John DeLorean, and once again, just like whatever maybe you don't know the man, but there's just something about it. Like, to this day, it's just larger than life. That's a larger than life name.
There's mystique to the name.
Yeah, and he came from an organization. Part of the reason he left the organization was because John DeLorean would have never been known, or at least not by the way that we know him now, is if he probably had stayed at General Motors. So he needed to ascend to the John DeLorean, and of course he made some mistakes along the way.
For sure, for sure. It seems to me, I also want to say this is John DeLorean, like, for all the, I do agree with you, he definitely has like a very otherworldly charisma, but I don't think he could translate that into like business success. Like, he's just not, like, the people who are good at business aren't actually good at, it's really funny. The book actually covered those Jewish guys who bought the entire fleet of all of the cars. And it's like, they're these unassuming kind of, like, they don't come off. And the book, like, really by the way, the book is called Maverick Mogul by Hillel Levin. And the guy has a fucking bone to pick with DeLorean, first of all. But
he does his due diligence, and
I do want to say that too, is that, yeah, he does an excellent job. Yeah, he did an excellent job of pulling all these facts.
Everybody that ever got screwed by John DeLorean, he tracked him down and
talked to him. Yeah. But yeah, no, the book, it later on, it highlights these two Jewish guys who bought all of the entire fleet, basically, and then leased them out to like rental car companies and stuff. Probably the one that Patrick Tomlinson rented is probably owned still to this day by like Saul Loeb or whatever the guy's name was. But either way, but yeah, so I think you're right. There was like this real Hollywood aspect to DeLorean, but he seems to be like a really bad business guy. Like, he basically got like looped in with this Roy Nesseth guy who's like a criminal, like a straight mobster, like remnant of like some kind of like LA mob that, I don't even know what he's hooked in with. But yeah, that guy we have to spend some time on too. So it's worth mentioning that during the time period in which he was rising. Okay, you know what? We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about who the guy is, John DeLorean. John DeLorean, born in 1925.
January 6th.
Interesting.
Ooh.
But no, he was born to a Romanian father who worked at the Ford plant in Detroit, and his mother was German, and they lived in a pretty working class, but a modest working class, but on the ups neighborhood in Detroit. And yeah, so and then he went through.
His father had some pretty. He worked at Ford,
Yeah.
and he was also a policeman, if I remember correctly.
Briefly, I think he was like doing the kind of like immigrant is a policeman to like ingratiate himself to society.
Was it in Gary, Indiana too? Like,
yeah.
It's probably a really shit neighborhood. Yeah, that he was policing. But I would say this is that what is interesting is that he became kind of buddy with that Bennett guy who is like the spook right-hand man of Henry Ford.
Yeah.
So I think that's possibly intriguing, but I don't want to draw any conclusions from it. But regardless, he was a Romanian guy and kind of an alcoholic, shiftless guy, and kind of abandoned the family. So DeLorean didn't like really glom onto his Romanian identity, and he spent his entire life with the falsified identity that he was French, because DeLorean.
Well, he didn't want anyone thinking he was a gypsy. You didn't want to get labeled a gypsy, right?
Or a Jew, by the way. A lot of Romanians are Jews.
God,
But I also just think it was partially like Oedipal, or yeah, he like hated his dad for like abandoning the family a little bit and wanted to, he had these like sort of delusions of grandeur. So he like what's like a really romantic identity, like, oh, I'm from Alsace-Lorraine, like.
Oh, cool,
Well,
dude.
there was one story that he had a friend when he was a kid that was on the rich part of town, and he went to lunch at the kid's house, and it was like a mansion, and he didn't know what forks to use and knives to use, and I don't know if it's apocryphal or if it really happened, but the theory was that at that point, and I think he definitely, I think the thing, maybe the takeaway from his childhood and probably shaped him for his whole life was that insecurity of,
Yes.
I don't want to be my dad, who's the guy
Yep.
on the floor, whose boss is picking on him, and all he cares about is wait until Friday to cash his check and go get shit faced and get in fights and
Yep.
come home and beat mom, like that. He is like, I'm not going to be that fucking guy because my dad could have been better, but he could, he had these things working against him. So I'm going to be the opposite of that. So he always had that sort of insecurity, and I think he ended up probably focusing more on money versus like anything else. It's just like I'm not going to be
Right.
poor. I'm not going to be the poor Detroit fucking blue collar worker.
And
And
appearances too. Like he really didn't care if there was actual substance behind the wealth. It's just like the appearance of wealth.
yes, and who
Um,
he was dating, and we talk about the chin implants and all that
yeah.
stuff, which is funny. But yeah, he definitely grew up, poor or blue collar, and one of the stories, maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but when he went to college,
That's where I'm headed next. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
So
okay,
I'll
let me
just say,
go
I'll
with
just say this. You can just jump right to it for a second. But much like most of the people who had talent in Detroit, they go the avenue of being like, oh, I'm going to pursue engineering so I can get a good job at the car companies or whatever. So yeah, he goes to an engineering college, which,
and they have all these colleges that are like sponsored by the big
yeah,
three, like
Chrysler
Chrysler had a.
Institute.
Yep, and GM had one, and like they all have these like institutes that where you go and that was like STEM back before STEM even was in a thing. Like they
Yeah,
had like these,
true, actually.
STEMmy organizations to really train engineers. So he goes there, and he's the big man on campus, and he's trying like he writes for the newspaper, and he's
Yeah.
bragging about who he's banging and going to parties and jitterbugging and whatever they were doing back in the 40s. But the funny story that I think we probably all picked up on was his his propensity for being, and you said talk about businessman, being a poor businessman, or maybe
Yeah.
not having the foresight to know if you're going to run a scam, like
Yeah.
don't do it so obvious that
Have
you're going to
someone
get
else
fucking
holding the
bagged.
bag a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, so you're talking about the phone book thing, right?
Yeah, the phone book thing. Which, so for those that don't know, they had the yellow pages. They got the white pages, the yellow pages, and people used to sell. This was before obviously mobile
This is
phones.
a
But out
product
there,
at one point. Yeah.
yeah, like people, they were door to. In fact, one of my old bosses used to sell yellow pages, which obviously, by the time he was selling them, they were way out of, way out of
Right.
fashion. But back then, it was a big thing. And businesses wanted their advertisements because you open the yellow pages, and hey, you want an advertisement for people to call your business because that's what it was for. So
Right.
he thought, well, what if I sell them, but I kind of create my own yellow pages, and he started
Yeah.
selling
Without the
advertisements.
authorization of the phone company or whatever.
Yeah, and the FBI, I think, got involved at some point. I mean, it was that high of a
Maybe they
level
flipped
of.
him back then.
That, that's I was gonna say, was that his nuclear reactor in the shed moment? Was that his oh whoops, I accidentally walked in the back door of the NSA.
But he
Let
still
me
talked his way out of it too. He got off with really just kind of a slap on the wrist. It sounded like some professor or somebody kind of spoke on his behalf, and he's like, "Oh, okay." So it almost validated. It's like, yeah, I fucked up, but it was a good idea. I just I got caught, and I would talk about. And he always was a guy that was going to talk his way out of shit. Like he was that
Yeah.
charismatic, and so he's like, "Okay, fine." And then you think that would be a learning thing, but I think he probably got the
I don't
wrong
think it. I think it
lesson.
probably made him think I can get away with stuff.
Yeah, you
Honestly, if
learned
Yes.
the
anything.
wrong lesson.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then so yeah, he went to work at GM. We're not gonna spend too much time on like the minutiae here, but he went to work at GM and just a regular rank and file engineer. But it's really funny because like the book does a really great job of like contrasting all, because the guy has written a lot in his own words about himself. Like the guy is clearly a narcissist to some degree. And you know, he like writes about like pontificates about his like virtues and shit. Like, and one of the things he like wrote was like, I don't care about what other people think and shit like that, which is like, you got plastic surgery, clearly you do.
You work in
Like,
marketing, you advertising,
yeah.
like what are you talking about? Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
but
nonsense.
he says that, and then the author contrasts that with like his first boss at Pontiac being like John DeLorean was the biggest brown noser I have ever
Yeah.
encountered working at General Motors. Like,
Oh my goodness. As soon as he hears expensive shoes walking
yeah,
on the floor, he's like, ah, "Gotta get up, get my
yeah. He
glasses."
literally it said how often I would just so happen to run into him at the water cooler when I'd walk through with the executives, you know, like,
You don't
and
move that high up in an organization that fast if you're not playing the
doing
game
that.
and
Yeah, I'm
kicking
Yeah.
sure.
ass.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
He
still,
drops a file full of like concept blueprints and sketches. And
yeah.
oh no, oh goodness, look, oh, just all my brilliant ideas. Don't worry, I'll pick them up. Oh yeah,
But to his credit, he created the Pontiac GTO. So he got assigned to Pontiac, which at the time was known as like the old ladies car division
yeah,
of General Motors. Let's also just take for a real quick second to talk about General Motors in general.
please.
General Motors, it's insane that nowadays, I suppose, given that like Japanese cars exist and like the prevalence of Japanese and European cars in the American market. But in this time, it's actually astounding that they were able to get away with not having an antitrust lawsuit on them. And the like, it's an absolute like the definition of a net near monopoly.
Was
Like
it
the absolute def
50% of the market or
it had to have been more than 50% because
yeah,
there's four at one point it was literally like Ford and then GM
yeah.
basically. Like if not for Ford it would literally be just GM, and
Of course, you
it's
had the
amazing
illusion of choice, because GM is
all the
Pontiac,
different brands.
Chevrolet,
Yeah.
and on and on. So, and it's still that way. But
And they were
back
competing
then,
against each other, but there was a lot of collusion going on. They're like, we
oh
got
yeah,
we it's us three, it's our pie,
Yeah.
like, and of course we'll take a little from you, like they obviously were competing, but to your point, they had all the lobbyists, or they had all this power, and the entryway into the car market was near impossible, which is
Yeah.
kind of astounding that he it maybe speaks to how bad of a business guy he was. The fact that you think that you could have broke into that market when you're up against those 900-pound gorilla organizations.
exactly. What was it?
Yeah.
Chrysler in the 20s was the last new company to come onto the scene,
Something
I
like that, and
believe.
GM bought it, right? Like
Bye bye. Bye. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just really amazing. But I think we're gonna touch on, we got a little schizo connections here later on in the episode, of course. But so in the 1960s, 50s and 60s, essentially created the muscle car. Which is it's like an iconic look from that. He created the GTO, the Firebird, the Grand Prix,
The
um
Tempest, I believe,
the
was it?
temp well,
Yeah.
the Tempest is like a body, and it had multiple different
Right.
cars that were using the body. But yeah, essentially, yeah, that's like
Tempest
the
11.
classic muscle car look. And the other thing was that they were just like slapping these gigantic motors inside of them, which that's what made it a muscle car essentially. And
Hmm.
a
And of
bunch of
course, he
great.
slid that in too, right? He didn't like they were fighting him tooth and nail, and that was sort of like an options package or whatever, like the
Yeah.
the, the
Hmm.
bigger
And then
motor,
everyone
that.
wanted the options package, and then it became standard. Yeah. Well, the thing
Hmm.
is, and he was correct about this. See, here's what I was gonna say about overall his like. I actually got to tell you, Dan, I disagree with you. Not so much that people might maybe not. You know what? People might not remember him, but I would say this: he would have had a much better time. And definitely contributed to the direction of cars, I think, if he had stayed at GM, because someone, I don't remember what person in the book later on, it might have even been, I think it was that CR Brown guy or something, but either way he had said like, I think that John DeLorean was like when like like he worked well within the system of GM, and like he could innovate stuff. But when he gets out on his own, he's just like a guy who was in the army trying to go into business by himself. Like
Mm.
they're not transferable skills necessarily, and I think that's true because he like did a lot of amazing things while at GM. He also did a lot of shitty things behind the scenes with Roy Ness, but um yeah, but either way, so
It's
he
an
made
interesting,
the
it's an interesting, thought. I mean, I guess the thought that I had with GM is it's such a monolith of a company that the nail that sticks out is going to get nailed back in, right?
yeah,
He could do that in the individual divisions. You could kind of get away with your little flourishes, but the further up, and then once you get to that 14th floor,
yeah, when you're a
the
vice
things that
president, yeah,
yeah, the things that make you DeLorean and made, like you see the pictures of him sitting in his office with, no socks on and wearing the button down shirt or whatever,
yeah,
with
butterfly collars,
butterfly collar. Like that was once you get to the 14th floor, it's almost like, yep, you're gonna play the game again. Now you gotta be back, you gotta be executive. And he also you talked about buttering up to get to where he got to, but he also ruffled a lot of feathers too.
right?
And there was like spouses of executives that didn't like him because of things he said. There was the whole him being a literally a playboy, like going to the West
Yeah,
Coast. His personality was
yeah,
a
he was
huge
with
culture
he was with his
clash.
first wife for like 19 years, and divorced her, and started marrying a 19-year-old. Like literally the same amount of time that she was
Mark Harmon's
born.
sister,
Mark
the
Harmon's
NCIS,
sister. Yeah,
the NCIS guy's sister.
yeah, and yeah,
They
and
been it would have been funny if the DeLorean car made an appearance on the show. He was
that
looking at
would
the
be
script. He's
funny.
like, "Who the fuck wrote this in? Who thinks this is funny?"
But yeah, so he marries this 19-year-old, and yeah, and also the other thing is, like you said, I have to touch on this. Like I have to go into the schizo realm. This is like around the same time period. So if avid listeners in the show remember this, we read a book called "Eye of the Chicken Hawk" by Simon Dovey, and he covered a serial killing that was taking place in Detroit called the Oakland County child killings. And in it, I'm not going to go into all the details about it because I don't necessarily think it's 100% related. But one of the major suspects, who certainly, especially given like the entire normal program to kill, premise, which is like it's usually not a lone serial killer, it's actually a syndicate of people who are like systematically killing people for financial gain, usually as well as sexual gratification. But the one of the major suspects in the case was this guy named Christopher Bush, who was the son of a vice president at GM in the 1970s. Now it was after that. It was after DeLorean had left. But in the investigation, they had this entire like task force that had been put together, and they were asking, all these people who were associated, particularly after that Chris Bush guy had killed himself with a shotgun that was not next to him, if I'm not mistaken.
It was
Patrick, is
put
that the
back.
details? It was.
It was put back neatly. No, I can double check it
Don't
here,
worry about it
but
too much.
he
But but
worth the
vindicate
read,
me, but
folks.
validate me that there was mysterious circumstances around his death that
Oh,
indicated that it may have been a
absolutely.
suiciding.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what
No,
are we
no
talking
toe trigger on the shotgun there.
Yeah, Jim.
about?
But yeah, no. But during the course of that investigation, they had interviewed some people who were also, relatives of executives at GM, and they had implied very directly that there had been a culture at General Motors where there was a tendency for junior executives to sort of like supply their children to more senior executives at GM in order to help advance their careers. And like there was a lot of hanky panky sort of wife's key parties, kind of that sort of stuff going on. So when I heard this stuff about like, oh, John DeLorean with his 19-year-old girlfriend, it kind of smacks me as a little bit a little bit phony. And I'm not alone in this because a character who we will later take a look at, this guy named Bill Haddad, he in this interview that Patrick had shared to me, I think I sent it to you as well, Dan, but a BBC documentary about John DeLorean. He says point blank, I think they fired. I don't think that John DeLorean resigned from GM. I think they fired him because they had some information that they didn't want shared. Because they gave him, and the book also covers this as well. When he left GM, they gave him the most golden parachute ever. They gave him a fucking dealership to run. They gave him 2 years salary at $200,000 a year at like some kind of libtard like fairness organization or something like that,
A
and
fairness,
also like a pension and all this other stuff, and
I'm a
also like
fairness inspector. I'm here to inspect for
it was
fairness.
like some kind of nonprofit where they did
Yeah,
like some shit about like affirmative action and stuff like that. But the
yeah.
point was is they gave him $200,000 a year for 2 years for
We're
free.
we're here to count your blacks. Brent is
Literally. Well, I
sorry.
mean, they did do that, and also, by the way, I think the author pointed out that when DeLorean did make his own company, that there was like literally no minorities working for him at all. So he's just a
Ouch.
hypocrite as well.
Yeah, all
Yeah, I
Hungary,
wouldn't be
all
surprised if
French.
he threatened to release things that might have compromised GM, whether
Yeah,
corners that they had cut or, any little thing. Because, I mean, there's that story about that memo, that Greenbrier memo that he, where he was going to do the speech and then they edited it and then
that sounds fake to me.
it somehow got leaked to the media, and oh, it's my enemies that did it. And, yeah, and who knows? I mean, it's all kind of weird, but he definitely seems like someone who, if you slighted him, might have just said, "Okay, great. Well, we'll burn the whole fucking thing down." So, um,
Totally.
yeah.
Mhm.
So he might have blackmailed them into giving him that parachute of like, maybe you just want to let me go away and don't besmirch my name, and I'll go off my way, and you go your way, and I'll keep all this close to the vest.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We'll never know the reality. He could have been like embezzling. We know he's not above it. He could have been embezzling. He could have been doing any manner of things and then turned around and used whatever leverage of information he had. Who knows, man? It's a whole world of possibilities.
The Greenbrier memo, is this the very same Greenbrier that has that underground uh facility like base bunker underneath it?
I have no idea. What was the Dan, do you remember what the Greenbrier in question was referencing? I know it was the Greenbrier memo was the name of like maybe it's a speech that they give every year at
I
the.
do believe that was where they held their annual
So what? I don't know anything about this. What is the Greenbrier bunker thing?
yeah, there's a like a continuity of government level bunker underneath the Greenbrier, if I'm remembering correctly, and Google
It
does.
never ends, man.
This classified facility was built during the Cold War from 59 to 62 under the cover of constructing the Virginia wing of the hotel. The bunker was designed to serve as an emergency shelter for the
So it's
U.S.
like where the
Congress.
Rand Corporation, the Bland Corporation goes when the Doctor Strangelove drops the fucking the Doomsday device or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. This is where, and they'd be driving DeLoreans, and then they'd be
In the
driving
Dumbs
their ethical sports
car.
cars
Yeah.
in the post-apocalypse.
So that was another thing that when it, supposedly he tried to play up this liberal image
Oh
um
yeah,
by being like the reason I'm leaving GM is because they're not socially conscious enough.
they're not hip enough, man. And he flips his hair.
Yeah, great head of hair by the way.
God bless him, but hey,
It's kind of
dude,
insane that he got plastic surgery given what a great head of hair he had.
I, and that's the thing though. Dude, you spend enough time staring at yourself in the mirror, you're just gonna,
Find something you don't like.
yeah, and that's literally and metaphorically. If all you do is pick yourself apart, just pick something and do something. This guy, I can't remember. I think it was the BBC documentary that someone said he was a great starter. He never finished anything, which, eh,
Yeah, I think that was one of the people he screwed over had said that actually.
yeah, well, there were enough of them to fill an hour-long BBC documentary, and their gripes were
Pretty
moving.
valid.
Yeah, yeah. These poor
So
people.
yeah,
So
Listen,
let's talk a
he
little
pulled
bit
some
about
good
those.
tail. He pulled some good tail when he was out in the West
hey,
Coast. He was dating models and actresses and Ursula Andress and Raquel Welch and then his
Yeah,
wife was cosmopolitan. Like she was like the
yeah.
one of the
highest
biggest
paid.
models on the
I
cover
think
of
she was on
Cosmo
Star
every month.
Trek, an episode of Star Trek, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What was I gonna
Wacky.
say is what was
You
I gonna
ever
say
drive
about
a
him?
GTO in an underground bunker? You
I'd
wanna?
like to try. No, but to that end, so yeah, I mentioned that so he got divorced from his second wife, the 19-year-old Mark Harmon's sister.
She ditched
And
him because
sure, yeah, kind of. It seems
he
that
worked
way.
too
Yeah,
hard, apparently.
yeah, I doubt it.
And she
But
was 19 years old. I think she probably got. She's like, "What the fuck was I thinking? Like,
yeah,
Well, yeah,
marry this old
like
guy?"
they get married and she's like, "Where are you going?" Work. What? Door closes, he's gone. She's like, "What? Where's he going? What's work?" This is like
yeah, 19 years old model. Yeah, doesn't probably know what that is.
she was had a dalliance in the liberal arts with a liberal arts degree and then went into modeling and then she bumped into him.
Well, I just gotta say this.
Stupid shit, dude.
Given the the kid thing with the weird shit surrounding GM, I do think it's odd that he had a childless second marriage and then decided to go into the at risk youth camps industry. That's weird. I think that's an odd detail, and it just
That
doesn't really speak well. Every time I hear about a rich guy building anything for underprivileged children, I'm like, they're trafficking the kids. Like
yeah.
that's got to be what it is. Like,
Yeah, it's not like this guy has money to spare, money to burn. He literally had to sell coke to, apparently.
well, those are
Did
two
they
different
As
ever
the
eras, I
story
think.
goes.
did
As
they ever
the
explain why his first son was adopted? Like,
Yeah, well, the second wife was infertile
He was
oh,
swinging
okay.
too hard, he thought.
because
And
his daughter is a naturally born daughter,
Yes,
yeah.
supposedly. I mean, she does kind of look
but
like
she
him,
hates
so.
his guts. At
And
least in the
that
stuff
documentary we saw, the documentary saw that she seemed to have some kind of fondness for him.
With the
maybe ambivalence is more of
Sure,
the
yeah.
term because she had some
with
murals she drew as a kid that like had a picture of
Oh
a
yeah,
DeLorean and it said
destroy my
DeLorean,
child.
yeah, destroyed my childhood or whatever DMC.
Yeah.
Uh,
um
Dan, you're talking about the Alec Baldwin one, right? You saw that too? Scott, did you say
yeah,
yeah,
I saw a
the
little bit of that.
framing
Yeah.
John DeLorean, which was kind of a good watch.
it was pretty good. I will say this though. Alec Baldwin doesn't make any sense when he is doing John DeLorean, he's in his own voice. And then when he's doing these like documentary behind the scenes just chatting with the crew and he mimics John DeLorean. He's like, "Well, I'm like, "Dude, you do the voice then. If you're gonna fucking bullshit his voice, at
Yeah,
least
I don't think he's
try."
actually that good of an actor.
No, I don't think he actually
No.
did a really good. He looked like DeLorean, but I don't think he really got the essence of DeLorean. Was a much more charismatic
Yeah.
person, and the
Yeah.
way he portrayed him, I think, in that movie.
Also,
Yeah.
let's not like step over the I don't know when this was shot, but like let's not step over the fact that Alec Baldwin killed a woman.
Yeah. And other things too
And
that
he's like speaking disparagingly about John DeLorean, and I'm just like, this is a little ironic,
Yeah,
don't you
you.
think?
is very yeah, no, and there's quite a bit more with Alec Baldwin that's maybe not as well hasn't been to court that we can talk about in later
Yeah, oh,
episodes.
maybe another episode. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard some of those rumors
But
as well.
if people want to get a jump on that, check out the Albertini tapes.
I don't
Yeah.
know that I want to.
No, yeah. It's audio tapes.
Okay,
It's
good. All
an
right,
interview.
good.
All right, relax. No, you're not gonna get a
Um,
tape in the mail.
but what I was gonna say next is oh yeah, so after his second wife, he divorced her, and that's like when he really slipped into the Hollywood persona. And they threw this was really odd to me. This was in that documentary, the BBC documentary. But he said that the day after he got divorced, they like his Hollywood friends flew, which are included like Sammy Davis Jr., known Satanist, um,
All the best people.
flew him out to an apartment with four young women all dressed up to look like his ex-wife.
Weird, man.
and he spent the weekend with him. Does that not sound like a fucking honeypot? Like where there's probably like cameras in the walls or something? Like
Well, it would appear that he doesn't mind cameras in the walls.
clearly
Yeah.
not. Yeah, or he's not, or at least is immune to them, immune to noticing them.
So with that second marriage over, he's at that point he had adopted his first son,
Son Zachary, yeah.
who was 14 months at the time of the
The
adoption, I believe.
divorce. Right, right, yeah.
Um,
And then shortly
but
after the divorce.
yeah, exactly. And then Zachary in interviews he refers to, the third wife as his mother. So,
Right. She
and
adopted him, even though they
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot to say about the son, the child, the
Very
father, obviously.
tortured young man. Well, old man now, but
Well, you didn't like his apartment, the dilapidated apartment with the
it wasn't
dog.
that bad. Honestly,
I know.
I was a little annoyed that he was going like, "Look, man, I've lived in a fucking dump," and I'm like, it's better than most of the places I've lived.
It's the back room in most restaurants in America. You can,
Yeah, I think that's being a little cruel, honestly. But either way, so let's talk a little bit about so this some of the stuff that we're about to talk about now took place while he was at GM, and some of it was after. But so he did get hooked in with this guy named Roy Nesseth, who I said is like a corrupt criminal car dealer from
yeah.
LA, and seemingly some kind of mob connections. And he was sort of like the hatchet man. Like he would be the
He
fall
was a
guy.
goon. He was the goon. Like you just sent him out, or like somebody had a patent you wanted to steal. Send fucking Roy
Send
out there
Roy,
to
yeah.
fucking push him around a little bit and
Real,
intimidate him.
Yeah.
real
So
pipe hitting such and such
one of the things
thing.
what was the deal with the that like cattle farm? So basically like DeLorean got the idea in his head that he wanted to be a cattle rancher, and he like how did he own this land or something? How do I this didn't really make sense to me, but
Okay.
basically this, do you know, Patrick?
Well, I mean, from what I understand, he had delinquent payments, and there was the mortgage company that he presented as being, the one interested in the land at the time of sale, when he was dealing with these people face to face, or Nesseth was, I think. It was a totally different company. It was a totally different mortgage company, financer
Right.
that.
Oh, so he sold them this land and these horses or these cows rather. And then when they paid him all this money, and
Mhm.
then they essentially then once they were living there on the land, it's coming back to me now. Then this mortgage company hits them up like, "Hey, you're delinquent on your payments." And you're like, "What payments? I paid for cash in this. I paid for this in cash." And then they're like, "Yeah, you owe us like millions of dollars. You owe us millions of dollars
Yeah,
for all
he,
these
he
cows."
mortgaged the property as he was selling it, I think, or something, or he
That
somehow
Oh,
sounds
okay.
correct. Yeah.
like he double dipped on that one and left somebody else holding the bag.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So
and
no
then just
good.
yeah, and then they sued Nesseth, and I don't know what you can't like sue Nesseth. That's the thing. Or if you
Yeah, he's
do,
got
he's gonna
nothing.
settle. He's gonna settle out for you for $22,000, and you're gonna have to accept it.
Yeah. And these people paid what, 500,000, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe
Okay.
that's the car guy, the car part guy. So yeah, this
Oh,
other
that's right.
guy.
You're right. You're right.
This other guy had just developed in his garage like this little tool made out of like a little piece of aluminum that I'm not really sure about the way it worked, but the it's like a little device that like tells your radiator to like stop boiling if it gets to a certain temperature or something.
Hmm.
Um, and it was like a major problem in the audio industry at the time because engines were getting quite large, and they were trying to make them out of cheaper and cheaper materials like aluminum, which, as you know, is it radiates heat a lot, so it like caused the engine to overheat a lot. So this guy just in his garage figured out that like if you have this little switch, I don't know exactly how it works, it turns it off or whatever, and he starts selling them and gets a patent or whatever. And all these companies were car companies like GM, for instance, GM and Ford, everyone was like, "Ooh, all you have to do is make this little device. We can make that little device." And they just start basically it's like it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission kind of thing. Because if you ask for permission, the guy's gonna go, okay, it's gonna be $1 million, $100 million to use my thing or whatever. And they figured correctly that they could just make all the money off of the cars, millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and then afterwards be like, oh, I'll settle out of court for however much your shitty ass lawyer can get out of me. And so this guy goes, okay, what'll I do? I need a businessman to like be the guy to watchdog to like go around and like sue these companies, like have an attorney and like be a business president. Just me, this one little guy, isn't going to be able to hire a good attorney to, go after these people or whatever. So he goes, who will I go to? Oh, John DeLorean just left GM. I know, I'll go to him and they'll respect him and he'll also fight because he wants a piece of the money or whatever. And so he just sold these patents, or he just, no, he gave these patents away to
Hmm.
this guy for free,
Not even
to
for
John
the
DeLorean for
dollar
free.
that people usually do things for, you know?
Yeah, not even for the dollar. And and then says, "Okay, now go after all these companies and make an agreement with them to license them instead of, sue them for the amount and then also make further licensure deals." But instead, what did he do? He needed cash quickly, so he just said, "I'll settle with Ford for $100,000. I'll settle with
Mhm.
GM for $200,000. I'll settle with, you know, um, BMW for $100,000, and then pocketed all that money. And then this guy goes, the guy who created it goes, "What the fuck? Like, where's my money? Aren't I gonna get anything?" And he just keeps fucking them over and over again. This one of my favorite parts was during the story was like he said, "I'm not leaving until you give me a check." And then DeLorean goes, I'm gonna write you a check right now. Let me go into my Oh, wouldn't you know it, my checkbook isn't here. He pulled that move on him, bro.
Oh, jeez. So,
Oh man.
so I have something funny to tell you about that I just found out, and I swear I didn't know this coming into tonight. So DeLorean was well known for having a lot of patents,
Yeah,
and I'm sure he came up with some of himself. Maybe he strong armed people like this guy and got them.
yeah,
He had 12 patents awarded prior to April 1983. So that's not bad, right?
yeah.
That's a good number of patents. He had one related to the car door mechanism under his partnership. But this is the funny thing of all, and I I'm gonna trust that Google is not lying to me here. In addition, DeLorean filed a patent application for a raised monorail transport system in 1999. He wanted to start selling monorails.
I mean, that's cosmic beauty right there.
Oh man. When John DeLorean
Oh
comes to
man,
town, hide
he
your
really was the monorail guy after all.
Literally, yeah. Man, what a head
jeez.
of hair.
I know, I'm jealous.
I'm just like looking
What
at the
a
picture of him right now. What a head of hair. Why would
dude.
you ever be insecure about anything, bro, with that
Can
head of
I
hair?
can I like detract a little bit from the myth?
You broke up for a second, buddy. What happened? Oh, good. Right as he was about to launch into something.
Damn it, am I back?
You're back, yeah.
The
Yes.
forces of evil are conspiring against me. They're trying to keep me from bad-mouthing John DeLorean even for
I think so, yeah.
5 seconds. Uh, Not that charming, all right? I'm not amused, Mr. DeLorean,
I think you
frankly.
had to be there.
Yeah, what? These people are all just drunk. Um, and yeah, apparently he was sobered up after a point. Didn't really.
Yeah, that's like a low key, that's like a pretty good technique at like making everyone think you're witty and clever and very charming is just be the only sober guy at a drunk
Yeah,
outing.
it's fun. What's funny is he doesn't strike you as the kind of guy who ever even like touched coke, you know? Even at the
Agree.
parties.
I
He
kind of
seems
agree.
pretty straight laced,
I think
despite
is like he
his
truly is like a money driven kind of guy, and like the
yeah,
coke is not necessary. Coke is a way to lose all your money, not make it.
yeah. Yeah, as if 4 wives is less expensive than a coke habit. You
True.
dingleberry. What are you talking
So
about?
are we gonna jump to Coke now? Is that are we
No.
No, no, no.
transitioning to
Plenty
Coke?
more to talk about. Plenty
Sorry.
more to talk about. But no, I was gonna talk about the so we got the ranch. We got the oh yeah, the car park. So yeah, the guy goes to him though, like you fucking prick, like you fuck me over 3 times. 3 times now I've shown up to get a check from you. Anything. And you pulled the I can't find my checkbook bit. And
No,
he goes,
for
fine,
the gun?
just give me back my patents. And he goes, okay, I will give you back your patents for $500,000.
I hope you have your checkbook, sir.
And
Jeez.
had to give him the $500,000.
Yeah,
He gave him the
whatever.
$500,000. This was
Just
like
so
just a
he,
guy who was like a literally owned a garage or something.
yeah, yeah, real charming, that John DeLorean. What a guy. Go suck an egg. Ugh.
All right, so okay, so I'm gonna since you're going all in on DeLorean being a bit, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna defend
Okay,
John DeLorean right now.
Yes, do
please
it.
do it.
Okay,
Please, because
so John
I've
DeLorean is what the thing about John DeLorean that I picked up from this, having read about other business people, and we know some of them, in fact, even politicians. John DeLorean is doing what every one of them does. They skim, they think about
Scam.
themselves first, they scam, they cut corners, they lie, they
adulter.
push the envelope. There's no like billionaire that's a nice guy. And if you show me a billionaire that's a nice guy, dig a little bit deeper and you're going to find somebody who he stepped on or somebody he hurt. Even Warren Buffett, he does the old I'm the nice old man. Dude, that guy's screwed over plenty of companies. Don't kid yourself. Like he's fucked over many, many people to make the money that he's made. John DeLorean does what every CEO does. CEOs are by nature, you don't become a CEO unless you are a just complete narcissistic, unscrupulous piece of shit. Like you don't get to become a CEO unless you have that in you. Now, CFOs and people that are like head engineering people and stuff, those people tend to be more down to earth and they tend to be more like based like Bill Collins and those kind of guys. It's just like okay, like they look at DeLorean and they can't understand what's going through his head because they're not built that
They're
way.
not wired
Now,
like that. Yeah.
they're not wired like that. Now, I'm not saying that he's a good person. And I'm not saying that like he's not a piece of shit and he deserved everything that happened to him. But this is what they all do. This is the personality of a CEO. They all do it. Elon Musk does it. Trump does it. Joe Biden does it. They all are the same person. They're all cut from the same cloth. And it's the years and the time changes. Now, the problem with that you kind of alluded to before, Scott, is I just think he sucked at business. I
Agree.
think I think if he was a better savvier business person, he wouldn't have like maybe you don't skim as much. Like and I don't want to get too ahead of the game. We'll get to it, but he made so many there's like 3 or 4 or 5 like bad business decisions he made that fucked him. He could have made this successful, but
Very easily.
he
Well,
just
not
did
easily, but he could have done it.
there was a path to make it successful, but he kept stepping, he kept fucking shooting himself in the foot through it. Was he a good person? No, but he's no different than any other CEO. They all do this. They just don't get exposed like he got exposed.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
that's the real question I keep coming back to. Like, what did this guy do to deserve this humiliation ritual?
Dan, well, it's a great way that you put it there is, is he a good man? Because that exact same question was posed by his son to Hillel Levin at a live
Yeah.
Q&A conference thing that he did. Zach DeLorean was in the crowd and he asked him, like, kind of like stumbling through a very uncomfortable question to ask a stranger about your own father,
And the guy who wrote
a
like a
genuine
kind of a hit job
question.
book
Yeah.
on your dad.
And he didn't come at him at all. He really sounded to be hoping to get anything, out of it because it seems like he was a guy that never really knew his father the way that, or
Seemingly the world knew him as well as he did.
yeah, that's an ugly thing.
But yeah, no, I will say this is that's the thing. I agree, Dan, this is the thing, like bad at business is putting it lightly. Like this guy just do you remember the one where he did the like he just completely leveraged, he like tricked this poor fuck into like leveraging his entire dealership into like all these crazy money things, and like he ended up taking the guy's car. He ended up
Yeah.
taking the guy's Mercedes just because he liked it. Oh yeah. Well, there's that other woman. The other woman was the one who just Nesseth ripped off. It was like this woman was like a I don't, it was a
She was a
lumber. She was
business. Yeah.
a
Hmm.
lumber widow. Her husband started all these lumber companies. He died and left the business to her, and her kids were too young, and she was like, "Well, what am I going to do? I don't know anything about the lumber business. Let me see if I can find someone." And who comes out of the woodwork is Roy Nesseth. And he's
Oh
like, "Yeah,
God.
don't worry. I'll take care of you. In fact, I'm going to hook you up with the biggest businessman of all, John Delorean." And he just literally looted all of her bank accounts and stuff. And she never signed anything. She just said, "Yes, you can run my businesses. I'm too anxious to do it." And he just took every single penny she was worth. He had her like liquidate all of her like priceless art and like val and antiques and stuff. And
Her
DeLorean
gold
got a bunch
leaf.
of it.
Yeah,
Gold
her
leaf
gold
piano
leaf
that
piano.
Liberace had offered $100,000 to buy. Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, he just gave them all, not all of them. He sold a bunch just to feed his coke habit or whatever. But he yeah, and then just gave a bunch of shit to DeLorean. Oh yeah, I forgot the guy who he had screwed over for that little device, the little cooling device. He Nesseth made him wait 3 hours at a diner to like to sign papers or something. And he had been sitting there with like two lawyers, and he was paying $47 an hour to like sit to do the thing or whatever. And when Nesseth shows up, he goes, all due respect, Mr. Nesseth, but this sitting here waiting for you for 2 hours is costing me a fortune. And Nesseth goes, "I got a woman spread eagle back in my hotel right now, and you know how much she's costing me per hour?"
cute. Real funny. That's
I
great.
know.
That's hilarious.
Very
These guys
very
suck.
classy guy. Yeah.
These guys stink on ice,
We're
man.
talking about car salesman, Patrick.
Dude, like, but elevated to like the status of Olympian, uh, like demigods in
Well, I
there.
mean, I think Nasseth is undeniably a bad dude. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing redeemable about this fucking guy. Like,
Oh, he like brought armed guards.
Like
This We're
dogs.
jumping ahead here, but he brought armed guards to try to like literally steal all the remaining DeLorean DMC-12 units off the lot, like away from the repossessing company and shit, so they could try to sell them in cash for some quick buck.
Hey, well, yeah. What's the repo company gonna do with them? They're gonna scratch them all up.
Well, they're gonna sell it to that Jewish guy
Yeah.
or give it to that Jewish guy. Anyway, but yeah. So one of the other ones he screwed? Yeah, there was the car dealership. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think.
Otherwise, great guy.
No, I was just gonna say the big one. The big one is the DMC, is the company,
Yeah.
the car company. So
Yeah.
yeah, he hired this guy Bill Simmons is his name, right?
Bill
Bill
Simmons. Yeah.
Collins.
Bill Collins. I'm sorry, not Bill Simmons, the basketball guy.
There was another Bill
Um,
Simmons.
Bill Collins, not Phil Collins, Bill Collins, to who has worked at GM. I don't know what division he worked at, but he was like one of the star engineers, and he's like about to retire.
And they worked
And
together on the Pontiac GTO. So they worked pretty. They were I don't know at the hip, but they definitely worked a lot together
they worked
on some of their
together,
biggest
yeah.
successes.
And he says, "Bill, I want you to design me like the first version of the DeLorean car, the ethical sport." So he's pitching this to like to the advertising audience. Like, we're gonna have the first libtard mobile sports car, where it's gonna be like good on gas, and you're never gonna need to repair it because it's made with stainless steel, and all that other happy horse shit. And
Yeah.
but it's still a cool sports car, man.
Comes with bumper stickers already attached. You
Right.
can
Let's
get
say
them.
baby on board. Um,
this car runs on calm.
yeah. No, it runs on like soda cans and like banana peels, I thought. The
If
Mr.
you get
Fusion.
it to
The
88,
Mr.
forget look
Fusion.
out, man.
Get it to Heil Hitler miles per hour. What did they mean by this, by the way?
I, th-
I hadn't even thought of
I
that.
don't.
The 88. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
wait a sec.
I always thought,
Marty, I need to get the. I got to tell you about 14 words.
Marty, we need a future for white children. Great Scott!
Your kids, Marty. Your kids.
They're gonna
They're
marry black
mulattoes.
people, Marty. You kid, your son's a wigger, Marty. Your
We
daughter
have to
has an
go back.
OnlyFans.
What about what would Marty play instead of Chuck Berry? Oh, be,
What would it? Well, I think the time period would be the same. So it would be
yeah, but to say we would play
Screwdriver. Yeah, he
Chuck.
plays Screwdriver or something. Yeah. He plays Europe Awake by Screwdriver, and he goes like, "Maybe you guys weren't ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it."
Back to him making the first gay sports car, which what a dumbass, uh, like
Hey
angle.
Seth, this is your cousin Marvin Putnam. That's a deep cut Boston reference, by the way.
But the idea that it's stainless steel and what
It looks cool. Let's get that out of the way.
who gives a shit? I'll be on.
I'm not a car guy. I'm famously not a car guy, but I am a little bit.
You can't tell me those doors aren't fucking cool too.
It's
like,
pretty cool, man.
and they actually go vertical. Like so if you were parked and you can't like you don't have to worry about opening the thing literally lifts up like vertically.
Yeah. If
and
you're
you can, like,
14
slide in
inches
your
from a
car.
wall, you can open the door and it won't touch.
It's pretty cool.
14.
Hey,
I
listen,
mean, the
man.
doors were part of it. The stainless steel was different. And some of it is gimmicky, right? But that's what this guy was.
Yeah.
He was a marketing guy, right? He was a sales marketing guy with an engineering background and a shitty business guy. That's what he was. He was more Don Draper than business acumen. Like he could sell the shit out of it.
choose to drive a stainless steel car?
And of course,
What if
and
I
of course,
told you that
everything
you
he
could drive a
did was-
car that made you look like an asshole?
And of all the ideas, and to your point about the stainless steel, when they started doing it, they're like, wait a sec, this is not as practical as we thought it was.
Yeah, it got
Just
all
like-
smudged and like fingerprinty and shit. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Take a note, Tesla.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit. There's like, some interesting parallels between. Here's the thing: what Elon Musk succeeded at, what John DeLorean tried to do. So this is important. I guess I don't want to jump too ahead because it is somewhat far along into the DMC story, but essentially let's just get this out of the way. What Elon Musk did, we all know that the Tesla is a bad car. If you put it in sub-zero weather for more than a few hours, the battery permanently dies, and you have to buy a new $20,000 battery from the company at your expense. Also, electric cars in general are destined to be not a thing, because as it stands, the amount of electricity that would need to be generated for every person who currently has a car in America, we don't generate that much electricity by order, not order of magnitude, but like 4 times. Like it,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
would
but we're
require
gonna have electric roads, man. You're gonna
Yeah,
be like,
sure.
We'd literally have to fall into the sun in order to produce enough electricity to all drive electric cars.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get at here is, though, what Elon Musk did was he took advantage of actual government subsidies from the Obama administration called the carbon tax credit program. And I'm not going to get into the intricacies of it, but basically he's a car company, and you get these carbon tax because he's making cars that aren't using carbon, and he can sell those to other car companies, and they can push back their environmental commitments that are required by law from the Department of
It's fucking
the
brilliant, right?
it's actually just cronyism, so I don't really like it. But get this. So he utilizes that and then makes these insane business plan where it's I'm going to sell X amount of cars every year and watch we're going to be on the entire road. And this perfectly aligns with the libtard messaging of the Obama and then later Biden administration, also to the lesser degree Trump. Um, and he sells this to the stock market and he goes public with the stock. And it's an IPO scam essentially. This money is coming from the American taxpayer and it's a bunk product that shouldn't by any rational fucking market forces be on the market. It should not be on the market. Um, I believe this is what Delorean had intended essentially to do, except not being the United States federal government. This was the British government, of course. I think he thought that the differential between the Great British Pound and the U.S. dollar was enough that he would be able to like enrich himself and also make these outrageous Elon Musk style over promises enough to the point where he too could bring the company public and become a millionaire and then buy himself out of the company. In fact, he did say I would just sell after he got the plant established that he would just sell production rights to like GM or Ford or something. So this is very much what.
Can I just expand on one thing you just said there? So there was a documentary that he had like made
for himself,
made for himself, like a PR documentary that they recorded. And there's two quotes that he has that are famously that people refer to in that. He does talk about he's like, well, if the currency goes, we're gonna be printing money. Like we won't know what to do. We're gonna be so rich. Like we don't even need to sell any cars because of the currency thing. So I think he thought that something like that would happen. Then there was another thing where he's talking about like logistically, like the money and we don't have enough money. We got to get more money. He's like, I don't care where we got to steal it from, but we're going to have to find a way to get the money. And it was like a throwaway, like funny line, but it was definitely foreshadowing like that. Yeah. Like we're going to find a rock to find this money under. And, and he sure enough,
did.
He found one. He found one.
But my point being is that like it's almost as if Elon Musk was like, oh, let me just do what Delorean did, but I'm already connected to Epstein 2001. He was at Epstein dinners. I'm already hooked in. My father's literally a billionaire emerald mine owner. Like it's like this is the thing when I was talking about before. Like you're not good at business. You're just connected. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. There's no good at business.
That's a great call out. The thing that Delorean didn't have is he didn't have the system rigged for him. He was fighting he was fighting the governments. He's fighting the big three. He's fighting. Whereas Musk is just like, I'm just gonna rig the game for myself.
I'm gonna step into the shoes that were basically set out for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was part of one of those young global leaders. So the hope was that the investment that was put into him would pan out. And so as long as he sticks to the script, he will benefit thusly. The whole thing with
Are you going to vote for the Indian American Party?
Poopa man, where are you now?
But yeah, so the car we mentioned before, Bill Collins made the car. Very cool. He starts bringing it around. There's only one, and he starts pitching it to investors. One of the smart things I think he did was the bulk of the money came from dealers. They were like, give me 25 grand and you will have a guaranteed stock of X amount of DeLoreans when they roll off the assembly line.
You get one and you
Was it one?
And they ended up getting one.
They ended up getting. I mean, that does not surprise me.
That was the expect. I think they were like rolling out 4 a day or 10 a day or something, 10 a day, and their bare minimum was let's at least make sure every dealership that has asked for it gets one. Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Cool, yeah, you can have one in the showroom and then not. Cool.
Or, well, I mean, this is the problem is that when they start. Well, let's get to that in a minute. So there was a big kerfuffle over where they're gonna put it. For a long time they thought it was just gonna be in Puerto Rico. I think it might have been smarter to put it in Puerto Rico, to be honest with you.
Yeah, totally. What did
Absolutely.
they explain why Puerto Rico fell through?
They speak
He
better
just got
English
more
than the
money
Irish.
offered from the British. He's a fucking
That
greedy
that was
greedy guy.
well, I don't know if it was mistake number one, but that was definitely a mistake. Like, let's go to a place that has civil unrest and and put a plant there, and and then tie ourselves to the British government, who and of course we know it was one thing. It was we talk about the political wins are a big thing of this. It's like
Yeah.
if you got a Democrat or a lib, whatever they call the what's the party over there? Basically
The
the equivalent
Labours,
of
yeah, the
the
Labours.
labor, yeah, exactly. Labor Party is power, great. But then the Tories and Margaret Thatcher, or whoever come into power, it's like, yeah, we're not going to be printing money for you guys anymore
Who's this guy?
until you sell some cars.
I also
Who's this?
think I think that he could have courted Margaret Thatcher, in my opinion, but he just wasn't going to do. He had to be Delorean though, and he wasn't
Yeah.
gonna bend the knee like that. He thought like they should be begging me to put my plant here, like the labor guys were, because the labor guys are like, let's get some libtard money into the area or whatever. Let's
Yeah.
throw some money at this thing. And then there was no political incentive for the Thatcher government to give him the money. And then he also didn't make himself like not he didn't make any sort of overtures to them at all.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Because at this
He
point
didn't
he's
pay
already
tribute.
having his proxies run the thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, he's got these goons or these like very
Criminals.
yeah. He sends the goon squad to get things done, and you wonders why it all falls through. Yeah, why
Now I think
Margaret
there was a,
Thatcher won't receive the goon squad.
now I don't know if you guys picked up this, but it definitely seems like there was like an inflection point where it went from like, okay, this dream is happening to this dream is not happening. And it happened very, very quickly. And of course, there was a lot of factors, right? There was the recession, there
Yeah.
was governments,
Fuel
there
crisis.
fuel crisis, tons of
Well, it's
stuff. And
also the
then
fact that like I said, I don't want to like oversell Puerto Ricans here, but I mean, I just got to say, like, one of the anecdotes that I thought was really funny was that like the plant managers were like, most of the workers that got hired at the plant had never held a screwdriver before.
Not in anger.
Yeah,
Always,
I would.
always.
True. Yeah.
I love how they had to have the Catholics and the Protestants go in different doors too. Like they,
Yeah.
they had to like have different
I
entry
also really
points.
want to underline here, like, what a war-torn country this was. And we do have an episode on the Troubles. It's one of the very earliest episodes of the History Homos podcast with William and I did. And I also will say it's one of the ones that early ones that which I think we actually did like a good job doing the history of. Because then some of those early episodes are a little rough, as you might imagine. But this one was a good one.
It's all gold,
So
baby.
for full details on that, but I cannot understate just how war torn this place was. Like
Yeah.
bombs going off constantly. It was just gang warfare open. It was like Gaza basically. Like literally.
Thousands,
Yeah, and
thousands
they
of
even had one of their
bombs.
buildings got burned down. They lost, it cost them like $500,000. And then, of course, what did Delorean do when that happened?
Yeah,
He's
he
like, okay, pay me
claimed it was
14
10
million.
million. Yeah, they said they lost $500,000 worth of shit, and then they said, but DeLorean claimed it was 10 million. And listen, I get it, by the way. Obviously, something like that happens. You want to get a little more than you lost. I get it, but it's like an absurd amount of money.
Yeah.
And by the way, this isn't America either. I don't think they have Jewish lightning in UK. It's like
Yeah.
clearly
I was
an
wondering if you were
American
going to
thing.
use that term there.
Yeah.
Hey, we've all been there, a little insurance money, it happens.
Romanian lightning? What?
Yeah, Romanian lightning. Yeah.
Never heard of that here. I'm not even gonna try the Irish accent. You better
Oh, it was terrible that what happened down the DeLorean factory.
Oh, I
Um,
left me lunch in the factory and I can't. They won't let me back in to get it.
And they were, I mean, that's the only reason he got that because they were so desperate with the unemployment, was
Yeah.
like 40% unemployment or something fucking crazy like
I
that.
think it
Like,
was more. I think it was like 60% unemployment,
was
if
it
I'm not
really? Like
mistaken. Yeah. But
nobody had jobs.
nobody, this is the thing. They were still living in like a pseudo medieval arrangement, essentially, where like they're tenant farmers and shit, like literal
Hmm.
dirt farmers. Like, and then, then they move all these Northern Irish people who are Scottish, frankly, in the 1800s or whatever. And it's like, oh shit. Like, there's a war now because they're incompatible and there's just absolute ethnic strife. It's a whole thing. But,
You
regard
had to be there.
yeah, I think you kind of did, honestly. Interestingly, though, by the way, you'll notice that the Nationalist Party of Ireland is now like their primary concern is like trans rights and shit. By the way,
Of
so
course.
just there you go. Every time you see a grassroots movement that is like for self determination, it has to be hijacked by sexual degeneracy.
Bobby Sands starved himself so that you could get fucking your cock chopped off.
Yeah, you get your tits chopped off. Yeah,
Well, the DeLorean is back, so ooh,
true.
is that what a better
Are they
time than
making them
now?
again?
Yeah, it's coming back. Yeah, it
Well, there's
looks like
what's
shit.
this is kind of like a little bit of a side topic, but have you noticed how like these like the DeLorean conferences, like these like they're basically like Star Trek nerds, but for
Yeah,
DeLoreans. They all
yeah.
get together and they're like, they'll have like like the secretary of
Oh
come there and
wow,
talk.
you
Oh
met
my
John
God,
DeLorean?
tell me about the time you got coffee for John.
All right, listen. I didn't meet him. He was just in the room, and I swear I could smell his cologne.
I don't think if you walked in the building, you could probably smell that guy's cologne, to be honest.
I think the Romanian people are like naturally
And they just
colognes,
they exude
perfumed.
cologne odor, if you will.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not to perpetuate old gypsy
Racist.
propaganda,
Right? Yes,
but
that's true.
yeah, listen, he's from France, and that's
He's
why he
from
had to
Alsace,
buy.
Lorraine. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
So I had to buy all that stupid expensive wine, and everyone needed 10-foot desks. Stupid shit like that, like, oh, you wonder where the money all went? Yeah.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up. So he screwed over this Bill Collins guy by basically firing him because he said, "Oh, I found someone better." He got in contact with this guy, very famous in the automotive world, Colin Chapman, the creator of the Lotus cars, and basically the inventor of like F1 racing, the modern F1 racing, I should say. Um, but uh, I'm sure our gearhead listeners are like, "Oh, you said his name wrong" or something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so this
It's
guy, he had
Colin Chapman.
yeah, he had invented some kind of like plastic injection vacuum assisted injection plastic injection or something. And this was the problem was they were trying to figure out a way to mass produce these cars to the specifications that Bill Collins had come up with
That
in the
damn
first
Wankel
place.
engine didn't pass emissions or whatever the problem
Yeah.
Yeah.
was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But
And the
they,
British government wanted Lotus to get business out of this too. Like because they're like the
Mhm.
British government was pot committed, right? So
right.
they're like, I think they sort of influenced him why don't you talk to the Lotus guy and let's get some jobs for Lotus and let's get some structure in place from these guys. But then the car, if you look at it, it really started morphing more into like a Lotus car and less
Yeah.
of what they originally wanted to do.
Yeah, and not just that, but also when DeLorean and Chapman get in the room together, they start going, "Let's steal $16 million."
I was just about to say, how did they meet? Did they meet cute? Did they
It
meet
was yeah, it was a
in
meet cute. Yeah,
did they meet in Geneva
yeah, I don't know, but
at
so
the
okay,
post
I
office?
forgot to mention this was like during his time at GM, his brother was like, "Bro, like you're rich, give me a job." So he
Yeah.
had given him like a car dealership or something like to work for GM. And they're like, we got to get some more money, bro. The whole family's like this, I think. And so basically, they got the idea that they would do Grand Prix. So Grand Prix is a style of race, and in Italy, and Well, it was created in Italy, I think. But regardless, it's a European thing, and it hadn't been tried in America. So I don't think he even got the rights. Not that I'm gonna try to say that he like got in trouble for this, but he tried to sell this like idea of a franchise of like Grand Prix racetracks, like to
Hmm,
go on
hmm.
Saturday night and get shit faced with your friends across the country.
And drive.
And drive, yeah, but also not just that, but also there would be racing like events that you could see as well. And it flopped. It didn't really work. Again, shitty businessman. I don't really think that certainly not in Massachusetts would that ever sell. I don't think.
Mm.
I'll say
By
that.
the way, that GPD shell company that they set up, it was funny. And I don't know if this was the AI screwing with me or this was real, but some people were saying like it was supposed to be called General Purpose Development uh,
Yes,
Organization
but
or
that's
something.
what he lied to investigators
But it was really
about.
Grand Prix driver. It was like what it
Grand Prix
stood for.
Drivers Inc. Yes, that's where I was. That's
Yeah.
why I brought up the Grand Prix thing. So he just had the shell company, which was supposed to be like a paper company essentially that he would use to disburse payments to like the drivers and the Grand Prix that he had started. And the company had fallen apart at this point by the time the DeLorean Motor Company had come into existence. But so while he hammered out this deal with Colin Chapman. He said, "This is what we're going to do. I'm going to subcontract you, not through the DeLorean company, but through this other company I own called GPD Incorporated. And I'm going to tell everybody it's General Purpose Dynamics Incorporated or General Product Dynamics or something like that." Um, and but in reality, it's Grand Prix Drivers Inc. And
Yeah.
it's a non-existent location. In fact,
It's a mailbox.
Hmm.
it's mailbox 33 in the
Dun dun
post office
dun.
in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, again, did he just do
Listen,
that to make schizo people go?
Oh, it's a
maybe
Swiss
not.
bank. Oh,
Listen,
Well,
hey,
33 is, it's like the esoteric number, man.
yes.
You're gonna make me, you really think I believe that this mass shooter was 33 years old? Yes, I do, by the way.
um, I mean, while we're on the topic of
Well, just real quick
esotericism and sure,
before
sure.
that, I was just gonna say, so they took out $16 million from the $150 million that had been invested in the plant by the British government, which, by the way, or sorry, no, it's 150 million pounds, which is 165 at the time $1 million. So
Mhm.
that's 100. So I think this dumbass thought like, oh, 165 pounds, 160 million 5 pounds is 150 million dollars or whatever the fuck. I'll just take that extra 15, 16 million myself. Like,
And yeah, yeah, tell them it was a clerical error, the
I
conversion
don't know what
problem.
he thought he was gonna do when he got caught with this,
By the
but
way, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna pay you through this company called GPD. You ever heard of it? No? Good. Don't
well,
worry
the thing
about
is,
it.
I think that Chapman was like big time in on it, so I don't think there was any like sort of subterfuge going on between him with that. But
Certainly never, he didn't eat it the same way that DeLorean had to, though. He kind of
yeah,
had
well,
to
he didn't
keep,
get caught with the
yeah.
drug sting, so there's that. Um,
Shit.
but anyway,
But
so
even
yeah,
but even before the drug, well, I don't. Maybe I'm jumping ahead, but so the accounting practices, people started figuring it out internally that there was some shady accounting
yes,
going on.
Bill
So
Haddad had figured
yeah,
this
Bill
out,
had
and so
that.
this guy, I gotta assume this was a big part of why they went after this guy so hard, because this guy is some kind of operative. I'm not sure what kind. He's basically like
But
Ted
we don't know
Kennedy's.
what kind. But look up the early life section on
I
his
was just gonna
Wikipedia
say,
page.
yeah. Well, I don't know where he's hooked in, but he's like basically Ted Kennedy's Jewish handler. And he also was responsible for the Mario Shabbos Goy Cuomo mayoral candidacy, essentially.
No, the governor
Governor candidate,
82. Yeah, I think of when he ran for governor.
same
Um,
shit.
but not listen. That's not to downplay all the great work he did in Africa.
Yeah,
Let's
let's say, yeah,
not,
he sent the AIDS
please.
medication and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God he saved those Africans. By the way, again, every time this comes up, AIDS in Africa, they don't have AIDS. They have malaria, and they just say AIDS because it's a chic thing, like that episode
Mm.
of South Park. By the way, they don't test them. They don't take a blood when they say like, oh, there's all these millions of Africans have AIDS. They don't give them a blood test. Dan, did you
Hmm.
know that?
Really?
They give them a list of symptoms, and if they're 3 out of 5, they say you have AIDS. I'm
Are you
serious.
hot? Are you hot?
Is
Are you
Ebola
sweating?
still a thing? Is that
I don't
still
know if it
around?
ever was.
That was another
Seemed
made
like an
up.
op that they were developing, and then they decided not to pull the trigger on
They
it
were
at the
trying to like
time.
create like a zombie virus.
Yeah,
We got it contained though.
I never got Ebola.
yeah, I don't believe in it. I haven't seen it. Don't believe in it.
Mm.
I ain't never seen
Agreed.
no Ebola. Um, but yeah,
Ebola never did nothing to me.
so he stole his fucking money from his own company. Also, it got revealed that like right as they were going out of business, he had never invested a single cent into the company of his own.
He
He didn't.
was
He
the
didn't like
best guy
investing. He just used his
around.
own money. Was not a big fan of using his own money for anything. Why do it
And
when you
this,
can use somebody else's?
I
Use the British
guess, yeah,
government's money.
I guess, yeah. And oh yeah, by the way, also
What
Colin
skim?
Chapman, after this whole thing had ended, by the way, he died under pretty mysterious circumstances, by the way.
Real tragic. It was a heart attack. What's a skim? What does that word mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you say who Patrick, were you the one who brought it up to me that there was some sort of mysterious circumstances surrounding the Colin Chapman death? Like the only people who had known the only people who saw him dead were his wife and the doctor that signed the paperwork on his death
Yes, I
certificate or
do
Yeah, that
recall
something.
was on
that.
some conspiracy website I saw. That they were, and they
Who
never
knows? Maybe it's
tracked down the
true.
money. They never really like they never figured out where the money went. So
That's the
who's to say
question.
it's not? You know, they're probably. And if they were gonna do, this is the other thing too. If you're gonna do that shell company, why aren't you gonna like what? Then you're gonna have another shell company. That's what these guys always do. There's always like two or three
Oh yeah.
shell companies, and you just
You
keep passing
think?
it through them
Well, maybe
until
that's
you
why I
can
got
find the
caught.
money.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Levin called it. It wasn't even a shell company. It was a ghost of a company. It was
Yeah. It was
yeah.
a like I said, it was a mailbox. It was
Yeah.
literally just a mailbox. That's the whole company
Amazing.
right there. Um yeah, so again, so these guys had never held a screwdriver and the cars are coming off the lot absolutely janked out.
Quirked
uh
up, as they say.
yeah.
This it's
Toe up
bad.
from the flow up, I think somebody might say.
Oh man,
But yeah,
these
there's
were
leaky,
straight
like all of the,
jalopies.
one of the hoopties, even if you will.
Ooh.
I heard one of an anecdotes like the guy from one of the guys from America went to go um inspect the the production line, and they were like putting on the weatherproofing stripping like for the door,
The clear
and
coat?
no,
You're
the
gonna
true
love that
coat,
clear coat.
the true
Oh,
choice true coat,
sorry.
yeah. But they're putting that on, and the guy was like, "Oh, this is hard. I can't do it." And he just cut it into 3 or 4 pieces, and then stuck it in there because it would be easier. Obviously defeating the purpose of a weathersproof stripping,
Oh my
obviously. And that
goodness.
was, by the way, one of the major complaints that people had is that they would leak.
It's so stupid, dude. I mean, it, all that time, all that money, and all that hope for what, you know? Like, how long was that operation running in Dublin? What?
3 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is it better that it happened at all? Yeah.
I think so.
Most will say yes. I mean,
Now all
I,
those guys could say, "Hey, I had a job once. You guys, so please hire me."
that's the thing
Hey,
is,
remember 40 years ago when Dad had a job for like 6 months? That was pretty cool.
Well, that's the thing. He tried to do. This is the thing. They had these little things baked into the loan scheme from the British government. Like, if you get this many employees on the payroll, we'll turn your loan into a grant instead. And so
yeah.
we overhired and then had them working on a 3 days a week schedule.
What's your dad do at the DeLorean factory? Oh, he installs the weather stripping. He's doing a great job.
He sweeps up with
Yeah.
1 day a week.
He
But
sweeps with one arm.
and so yeah, they also he made these like again, no one was buying these cars because first of all they sucked, and second of all, like they were way too expensive. It's a sports car, and to get like
The doors weren't even open, or the doors would like open.
but they would like lock you in and stuff. Yeah.
They were, oh, even the
But
PR that they were doing was awful. Like when they like shipped them over, and they've got like all this PR, and like people are getting stuck in I guess the doors were just the engineering part of that was like just all fucking foobar. So there were
Yeah.
so many problems with the fucking car.
he got
And
stuck in it.
Exacerbates
Like
everything.
he got stuck in it publicly. DeLorean did.
he did? I didn't hear
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. Of the many people, I saw this in a few plays. Of the
Pay
many
no
people.
attention. I'm just going for a ride. I'm just hanging out in my DeLorean. I'm John DeLorean.
All right, I'm just texting. I'll be right out. The funny thing is, oh, there was a great list. There were a couple great lists in the book of
It was, yeah, the
different
list of
problems.
complaints. Yeah, different
Oh my God.
complaints from people. Yeah.
How do you unlock the car if the battery is dead? Which, holy, come on, man. It's not good.
Well, how's the battery done? Yeah, but either way. But the point was is that these were requiring warranty. He had made the claim when they got the car that it'd have a 25-year warranty. By the way.
And well, what? Wait, DMC 12, right? Hmm. What's that? What's the 12 for? Was that some kind of weird esoteric thing, or was that his original promise of it was going to sell for $12,000?
Oh, was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
ended up going for more like what, 25, I
19.
think.
It's then they oh, that's right, that's right. You're right. It was 24 or so because they said first they said 12 and then they said it'll be comparable to the Corvette because it's a sports car, right? So the Corvette was famously pinned at $19,000 for like a good 5 years at that point. So they were like, sick. Okay, it'll come out, it'll be the same price as the Corvette. Well, when it shipped, it came out for $24,000 or something like that.
Which I checked it for inflation. That's what, like between 46 to $49,000 in today's fickle dollars.
That's pretty
Yeah,
insane. Um, but yeah,
and
so many problems. So
cup holders were not big enough. The
the
radio, the freaking wire that they used was horseshit and internal, and
oh
I think
right,
it was
yeah, yeah,
Brown
the
that,
aerial, you mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he just went ahead and said, "No, we're drilling a hole in this thing and we're sticking a freaking antenna in it."
Well, if they weren't
Which,
gonna no one's gonna buy a car with no radio in 1982. I'm sorry, like it's just not gonna fly.
but it
So
does come with those cool mobile. What was it? The little like the little light box movie perpetual loop thing
I
that they
forgot
were
about
selling
that.
at the. It's so stupid,
That
dude.
was a
Do you remember
scam that
that,
he
Dan?
screwed over. Yeah, that was while he still worked at GM. Actually,
So
that was a
stupid.
scam that he had like bought ownership in this company and then forced GM to buy it.
Yeah. Where basically they were selling these little boxes with screens that would run a tape of just
Not a tape,
recurring,
film.
right, sorry, right, film of just features and promo stuff of the vehicles. The
A
way it
little
was put,
infomercial that'd be like in
yeah,
the car.
yeah, and the what did they cost? Like $250, $125 for the film for this model, this model, this
Yeah.
model. Like bing, bing, bing. He's just racking them up, and it's all going to Geneva.
Well,
Pretty
this
cool.
again, this was a GM. I don't think he
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
Geneva yet, but either way,
No,
but he owned he the what no one knew at the time was that he owned a stake in the company, and he forced GM to buy all these units or whatever, and
so
he was
funny.
taking a killing. But yeah, so again, scumbag. But yeah, so at the end though, all
All
these
the
problems that we just listed, and he's running out of money. I will say this is that I do think he did believe in the company to some degree because the book does make pains to say that he paid the payroll for the people out of his own bank account at the end for the last like few months of the company's existence.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
clearly he
yeah.
had some stake in it. It wasn't just like it never because you had said, I think, Patrick, you like, did he ever believe in the company?
Well, yeah, I really wondered. not so much that. He very well might have believed in the company, but this felt to me like some kind of, well, you said humiliation ritual, but it felt like something that, like the Titanic, I guess, was something that was built to sink,
Well,
uh, as a way of
I want to
just
use a
making
different
money
analogy
disappear, please.
on the future.
Yeah.
There's definitely, and I don't know if you would agree with this, Scott, but definitely there's some parallels with Bernie Madoff with him in terms of not that it was like a Ponzi scheme, but that it's kind of like you're skimming, and you think like everything's just going to keep going up and up, and
Yeah.
it's really
And
like
you'll
it's
be able
going
to
to
continue it indefinitely.
you can continue it indefinitely. Like these guys with the mentality of a Ponzi scheme never think of that it's gonna not work out. Like they just think they
Hmm.
have this this
It's magical thinking.
confidence, and it's it's a fallacy that they have in their mind that it's gonna always continue. And I think now I don't think it's quite of the level of Bernie Madoff because he completely was a thief, and
Yeah.
now in his
He
mind
also
he
burned over his own people who were like really mad. We don't do that to each other.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
Haven't you read
there's some other things there, but
the
I
mission?
think he genuinely thought that even like the skimming, the GPD, some of the stuff he was doing, it's like it's all gonna work out because we're building this cool car. It's gonna be sexy. People are gonna want it. He didn't allow himself to think of like the worst case scenario, and he really like he had a lot of bad like he had made a lot of mistakes, but he also had a lot of bad luck too. So
Yeah.
the bad luck the it was like a perfect storm. Bad business mistakes with bad luck, and I think he thought he'd have more runway to get to where he needed to get to. The
Yeah.
other thing too is, man, I'm sorry. You get in bed with a government and you're depending on them for money, and like you put all your eggs in that basket. You're
Hmm.
asking for trouble. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
eventually the bill's gonna come due. I think that was the real fatal flaw was, putting
Tell
so
that to Elon Musk.
yeah.
Well, no, that's different,
Well,
Scott.
the
That's
well maybe if he stuck in maybe if the U.S. would have backed him, it would have been different,
Yeah.
right?
Again, I think he would have had a better time in Puerto Rico. They're like just corrupt enough where like they would have made that work.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but what would
exactly.
those
Puerto
cars have
Rico's
looked
got
like?
its own checkered past of corruption. They probably they would have probably been more invested in making it work, whereas these
Yeah.
guys were ready to pull the plug as soon as things went sideways.
Almost as like a political stunt for the Tories or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they
If
were
if
very hard
the
up on money.
if the cars were built in Puerto Rico, the horns would have been playing reggaeton.
They have like
Yeah.
suspension going on.
Marty,
Yeah,
get
so
away. 88 degrees is what it heats your torta up to.
yeah,
So you
there
put
you
it on
go.
the
Put it on the radiator, get your Chocorero sandwich nice and hot.
there you
You ever been to Chocorero, Dan?
No.
Oh man, it's over on Arch Street. Oh, so good.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
But what's it called? Yeah, so yeah, they're very hard up on money. And who comes out of the woodwork? Oh, we get to talk about Bill Haddad first. So Bill Haddad, yeah, he had been again. He's like the handler for the Kennedys. He was like the token Jew in the Kennedy camp, and I don't know what his ma. He's got to be hooked up with somebody, but he's another one of the long list of people that Delorean fucked over. So he hired this guy Haddad to be like to sort of show the company had like liberal because they were falling short on all these like promises of like having all this safety. Oh, this was the first car that was going to have airbags as standard too, by the way.
Mm,
Um and
Interesting.
yeah. And so he hired this Haddad guy to be like, oh, this will be my cred that I hired like a Kennedy guy to be on my staff or whatever. But I don't know. He fucked him over and he sort of like made him a marginal figure and like basically screwed him out of all like the money. And Haddad
well,
basically
there was
decided,
one thing. I'm sorry. There was one thing
yeah,
that
go
kept
ahead.
coming up is because of the way he was structuring the company, he was like creating like these stock certificates that were almost
Yes.
like there was like almost like a monopoly money thing going on, like where he was
Yeah.
kind of like, hey,
This
I'll
is
give you
exactly
stock
what Tesla
certificates that
is,
don't
by the
mean
way.
any that aren't worth anything. Like he was gonna leave people holding the bag with like certificates that didn't have any
Well,
value.
the theory is when it goes public, it'll get artificially
Yeah.
boosted because of the news articles and smoking weed on Joe Rogan and being with the president and stuff like that. This was the
It's
idea.
better
And
than gold.
DeLorean had all that stuff set up. He was going to go on Johnny Carson and go, "Hey, so
Smoke
my
Sending a
car company
DeLorean into
just went
space.
public." Yeah.
He was gonna go on Johnny Carson and do coke and say
Yeah.
it's better than gold.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Tesla did. I'm telling you right now. But you're right. But the problem is that it wasn't going to happen. There was too much scandal surrounding it. And the final bullet was this Marion Gibson letter that was from. It was a letter to John DeLorean from Bill Haddad that Bill Haddad had supposedly. This is the story, is that he had said, "Hey, Marion Gibson. Oh, Marion Gibson worked at the company. She was a British woman, worked at the company in the American Office. And not the American Office starring Steve Carell. I mean the one that that John DeLorean had in New York. And Haddad had said to her, "Hey, what would be a really good idea is maybe taking some documents that prove the malfeasance of DeLorean's company here, or
Let's
back to
get you on a
England."
British Airways flight over to London.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened. So, but guess what she grabbed? She grabbed an open letter, not an open letter, but a memo supposedly from Haddad to DeLorean. And the story is she just happened to find it. Come on, man. Dan, I
She
think you
was like
sent
she
me.
was a typist. Like she was,
Yeah.
like she was a
He
mailroom
handed this shit
clerk.
to her and said, "Bring this to England and put this in the tabloids. I want to ruin this guy." That's what he said.
Yes.
That's what happened. And so she brings it back to the UK and puts it in the newspaper, and it completely kills the stock bubble, pump thing. And that's that. Basically, DeLorean has now hit a brick wall. He's done, and Haddad has left the company cleanly. And by the way, it's interesting to me that every time they make like a documentary or something, this guy comes out of the woodwork to comment on it.
Did
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah.
well, I mean, he's like Richard Doty.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
He's
he's
like the
that
Richard Doty of
character.
John DeLorean. Every time the guy comes up, he's like, "Oh, I'll be in the documentary to shit on him some more."
I heard you're doing a documentary on John Dory and you haven't
Yeah,
called me
but
yet.
this is
I'm
the
very
thing. What did
upset.
this guy know? What did this guy know? What is the Colin Chapman connection? What is the kid trafficking? Why did he have kids underprivileged kid camps? Where does it all connect? We'll never know. But anyway, so basically what happens, this other guy named James Hoffman comes out of the woodwork.
Real
Um,
shady dude.
yeah, and he's a professional criminal informant. Um,
Good
and
work
let
if
me
you can
just
get
figure
it.
out this other guy's name.
Dumbass.
Too.
By the way,
And what a
perfect reason
weird.
never to talk to your neighbors because somewhere in your street there's a police informant waiting to fucking set you up like a
Yeah.
motherfucker.
It's so
Yes.
stupid
Hey,
too
you want to make
because
some fast cash? You don't have to do anything. Just show up at a hotel room and we'll make you $4 million.
have, have you ever heard of the skim? I have. I'm John DeLorean. Um,
Nearly invented the skim. What's this other guy's name? I'm trying to find here.
he was a mafia guy, right? Hoffman.
No that they no what you're
I
top
did.
no he
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't know that what he was. I know what kind of guy he was, but no. Where the hell is this? What was the? I'm just gonna quickly Google this. Who was the drug smuggler who went down with DeLorean?
Oh,
It is the other guy's name was. Are you kidding me? Not Hoffman.
hmm.
All right. Well, he's a convicted drug smuggler. There was another guy that they claimed was was like the real guy they were
Is that the
going
guy that had
after.
his mustache dyed and he there was some documentary I saw and he's like, yeah, I was delivering 10 pounds of cocaine. I didn't know I was delivering it to John DeLorean.
No, maybe that was him, but I just also just typed this in, by the way, and it says Max Mermelstein was an American drug smuggler for the Medellin cartel in the 70s and 80s, who later became a key informant against their organization. Interesting.
Mermelstein.
Interesting that Max Mermelstein. But okay, I can't remember. Hang on, I'll just try to find this. There's a movie
Was
about
it Hetrick? No.
Hetrick. Yes, okay,
Yeah,
that was
okay.
it.
I thought
Okay.
I thought you'd heard me when I said it before. Okay, all right.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
Morgan
didn't. Okay.
Hetrick. Yeah, that was I knew I kept
Okay,
wanting to
I
say
just Googled
Hendrix.
Hetrick score name origin, by the way.
Yeah.
It is Scottish and English, so we got no early life confirm information here. But
Yeah.
I will say this. So this guy, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm done doing my early life searching. We can talk about it. Serious tone now. So James Hoffman approaches DeLorean out of the fucking blue. And he's, by the way, their kids were friends, so that's how he knew him, and they were neighbors. And he says, hey, I got a way to make some money. I know you've been having some trouble with the DeLorean company. I'm happen to be a drug smuggler. And I could make a couple calls for you, and if you get me like $1 million, we could turn that into something like 14 to 16 million dollars, of which you would be taking home $6.6 million. Seems kind of high to me.
What's funny is that he thought that he would do this many, many times and make enough money to fund the company.
I don't
You
even
know?
know that he thought that. I think he thought, oh, we'll just try to do another IPO scam once we get this in quick injection of cash.
Okay, okay.
I think he
yeah,
was just
fair
trying to
enough.
stay afloat.
Yes.
At this point, it was survival. That's why he was so desperate. It's just like I I don't have any money to pay anything. Like I can't pay any invoices right now. I need 4, 5, 6 million, like anything. And
Like
this guy
yesterday.
gave him
Yeah.
this guy gave him it's like because even if you watch some of the tapes and listen, the quotes, like DeLorean even says, he's like, as long as you can do this without tying me to it, and I just can't, as long as I've got kind of a layer, but which is kind of shocking that he actually went to the hotel. That was, I mean, dude, you're a bad fucking criminal. Have somebody else go on your behalf. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where was
why
Roy
would you ever
Nesseth?
show up at that hotel room?
Yeah. Where was Roy Nesseth? Maybe he knew.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little detail. Yeah.
because
But
Roy's the criminal, and he knows enough to
not go to the hotel, right? Yeah. But anyway, so the thing is so this James Hoffman guy gets him on camera and says like, oh, we want to do this plan. I'll give you you get me $1 million. And he says, I'll hook you up with this Eureka Bank. Eureka Bank turned out to be a Fed operation for many years to trick many dumb people into thinking that they were a mafia connected bank.
What a funny name too. It's hilarious.
I do actually want to quickly Google this. Could you actually Google this, please, Patrick, where the Eureka Bank is and if it has any
Eureka.
connection to the RFK shooting? Because if I'm not mistaken, the Eureka Bank sounds like the bank that was employing Thane, what's his name, for Thane
yeah.
Bishop or whatever his name was, that shot RFK. Because like that's like might be a mob-owned bank, even might actually be a mob-owned bank, which just really goes to
Thane
show you
Caesar.
Thane Caesar, yeah.
And then we would go ahead. Let me see here.
Well, regardless, I'll just keep going. But either way, so they put a fake FBI agent pretending to be a mobbed up banker and had DeLorean come in and make an agreement to give him $1.8 million worth of shares in a company called the DeLorean Manufacturing Corporation, not the DeLorean Motor Corporation, the DeLorean Manufacturing Company, which is, by the way, also a paper company which has no assets whatsoever. So he gave him papers for a worthless stock in a worthless company as the startup money for this drug venture, essentially.
Foster City, California-based bank with primary operations in the San Francisco Bay Area.
This could be the bank I'm talking. After we're done, I'm gonna look it up.
So, yeah, this guy's just writing bad. If he has a checkbook, all he's gonna do is write you a bad check. Yeah. So, it's very and he skated forever, because as we'll see, he's really not going to, which makes me wonder. I mean, how much of a sweetheart deal did he really get when he left GM? Because not only did he, make, leave with a nice gift under his arm, but also total, near immunity for all of his sins after the fact, in all of his business dealings. I don't know. I mean, Dan, I don't know if you care to like humor those kinds of
What, the born again Christian stuff?
oh, never mind that shit. Yeah, that too. I mean, I just mean the fact that this guy never really, the jail that he saw was, totally, that was nominal at best. But he, acquitted twice for fraud and the coke thing. And, made off
Well,
in
that's
all
why
of
you get
these.
Michael Jackson, OJ lawyers to get you. You don't want a criminal lawyer. You want a criminal lawyer, right? You
Nice.
want
Yes.
the one thing that was interesting that when I was reading is and I'll answer that question, the kind of the moral or the philosophical piece of it in a second, but the closing argument, there's a couple things. Larry Flint, I don't know if you know that whole thing about how
Of
he got it,
course.
how he was involved. So
Well, yeah.
Larry Flint somehow got tapes that showed another part of the FBI thing that really just kind of painted enough negativity that made it look like that it was even more of a setup. There was some issues about the jury not realizing it could have been a hung jury, and that would have had a
Yeah.
different impact on things. There was that aspect of it. So there was some jury misunderstanding
Shenanigans.
of
Which, by
shenanigans.
the way, usually indicates somebody got threatened into changing their vote. By the way,
Correct.
yeah.
Exactly. So somebody got threatened to change their idea. And then the other thing was, and I don't think it was Weitzman. I think it was the other lawyer who did the closing argument, Ree or something. His name was. It's actually like in law books, like a very famous closing argument that basically and once again, this is why you hire these high-priced Hollywood lawyer guys.
Yep.
They basically taught. I mean, say what you will about the shenanigans of the jury, but the closing argument just poked so many holes and was really the deciding factor. People think in
Yeah.
him getting off was the argument that they made. Just made it enough of a thing, and there's just there's books that were written about that have it
In
quoted.
the
So
wake of this, yeah.
in the wake of it, I mean, it was that impactful of a thing. This really was like the OJ trial. They didn't have court TV back then, but this
Right.
was like trial of the century
Everyone was
before
interested in
OJ.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it predates a lot. Like none of us, like even I was too young to really remember it, but it was like that big of a deal. Everybody was tuned in and they were talking about it. To your other question about like how he got off and this thing, I mean,
If
there's so many paradoxes with him. I mean, he's a shithead, but he's charismatic. He's loves his family, but he ruined his family. He is thinks he's a playboy, but he's also insecure. Like there's just so many dualities of him. He got what he wanted in some ways. Now
Yeah,
he
in a
didn't
lot
get
of
the
ways.
perfect. Like he became like his name is
Etched into the history
etched.
of automotive, American automotive history.
Yeah. Now I would give Marty McFly maybe more credit for that, less
Yeah.
less of the some of the other things, but the whole story together. Think of when you think of people who were tycoons or car people, like
Hey. Thai African Americans.
Thai African. Who can you name right off the top that are associated with cars? People like
Carol
people that were
Shelby, John DeLorean,
Ford and
Henry
Elon
Ford, of
Musk.
course.
There's only like there's like 5 or 6 people you can name. DeLorean really is in
He's
there.
up there. Yeah, he's in the conversation.
Ignominious or whatever the word is there. I mean, not for
Yeah,
the right
I think
reasons,
Nomius is right. Yeah.
but he's in that pantheon, and that's kind of what he wanted. So like he didn't get the money, he lost his family, he lost everything. He died basically a derelict, for lack of a better term, in an apartment. But he's John DeLorean, and we're talking about him. So like, who won? I mean, in a weird way, he sort of got what he wanted.
Yeah. Well, let's just also real quick. I just have to say this. Drug smuggler. Are we going to pretend that that's not clearly the CIA? Like, who do you think smuggles drugs
around these parts? Yeah.
Well, and I think this
CIA.
also raised a thing we kind of maybe glossed over, like why DeLorean? Like what was the motivation to set him up? Because it clearly is a setup. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say he got entrapped. He broke the law. I mean, he should have probably gone to prison for even whether he was entrapped or not. However, he was set up like a motherfucker. Like, so what were they trying to do? Who really was trying to set him up? Like, why would they have done this?
I can't. I mean, he would tell you. Interestingly, he would say it was GM.
So, yeah, well, back to what you said earlier, Scott. Two things you said earlier. One, you're not a billionaire without connections, and that may be that might have been the sweetest thing that he got from his, departure from GM, is the ability to operate as an independent public figure who, he still, wants to move and shake the way he used to, and even more so. But then back to the other thing you said, was was DMC just going to be sold, built up and then sold off immediately? And maybe was it supposed to go back to GM? And then once they realized that he had nothing to deliver back to them, I don't know.
I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah, you kind of have a point here with
Oh,
that. Yeah, like what if he bungled the whole thing? He was supposed to have his little dalliance with celebrity and being a maverick mogul, and the bottom fell out because he got too greedy, stealing $17 million with him, between him and the Lotus guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you're onto something here. Or maybe not GM, or maybe he had another deal with Ford or whatever, what have you. I obviously don't know. We'll never know. And then the other question is, what did this guy know? What bodies does he know were buried, and what effect
Kept
would
him alive.
almost going to jail have on his mouth? You know?
Yeah. Do you think that
They say he has that. They said he had that born again Christian, moment the first night he's in jail, and he changed his life forever after. I don't know, maybe just speculating here, but what if someone came to him and said, "You want this all to go away? Well, this is your new character, and you're never going to tell anybody about the sex ring around the GM plant."
Well, but after the fact, people did say that he was pretty genuine in his faith. I
Yes,
guess he
sure,
was a
sure. Why didn't he
Catholic.
give back the money to the to those people he had screwed over then?
Listen, I've been biting my tongue for a lot of this episode, trying not to just say this guy stinks, but
Yeah.
What's the
but
matter?
who
You
am
don't
I
like
to?
capitalism?
No.
I'm over it, honestly.
Give me the next. Give me the next
Give me the
thing.
secret third thing, please.
Please.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'd rather at this point, I'd rather shave like the skin off my fingertips than use money. I'm sick of it. But no one wants to.
Someday you'll have to do that if you
Yeah,
want
no,
to keep using money too, best of all.
yeah, no one wants to pay for my skin shavings now. But when food's tight,
You're gonna be eating those fingertips, buddy.
um, so we're gonna do an episode on Merchant of Venice at some point.
Sure.
The whole pound of flesh
Pound
thing.
of flesh.
Very,
Yeah.
very ugly stuff. But
Um,
no, yeah, Dan, capitalism's all right. It's about as uh good or bad as, DeLorean's charisma. It's a hammer, it's a tool. You do what you do with it, and I think for as impressive as his, like hot streak was, I can't help but feel like, this he was getting floated because, like I said, the connections are the most important thing, and he you know didn't have any problem with this Coke thing, and you know ended up broke, but maybe that was the lesson.
I don't know
Well,
that he was
I want to float
broke.
something. I want to float something else out there to you guys,
Please.
like just
Yeah.
a kind of an alternate history, shall
Yeah.
we? If let's say one of two things kind of goes differently, like maybe he cozies up better with the UK government and comes up with sort of a plan there, or obviously he doesn't get involved in the cocaine thing. that kind of goes without saying. He finds a way to stay afloat for 3 years and
Yeah.
just kind of and maybe they do a good marketing job. They have some, okay, we're gonna sell some. The economy gets better. He sells a few cars. Then that fucking Back to the Future movie comes out.
I can't
And
even imagine what that would have been like.
We all be
if
in the future now.
all he had to do, and obviously hindsight's 2020. If he could have kept it afloat for 3 years, he could have been Elon Musk. Like
Yeah.
the marketing that would have come from them. Every kid in America watched that movie. Every kid family would have wanted that car. And if they could have made it affordable, they would have sold like hotcakes. It would have been, and the other thing too, and we didn't really even talk about this. And so I'm going to get back on my defend John DeLorean.
Somebody's
soapbox a
gotta.
little bit.
Yeah.
Please do.
Um,
This is
I'm probably in the middle of both, honestly. So yeah.
I feel bad.
He was a huckster. He was a con man. He was a piece of shit in a lot of ways. But he also knew cars, and he saw trends, and they were going smaller, sportier, like Miatas were, or even Toyota, like dependable cars, affordable, sporty. Like he knew what people kind of wanted. Now, he didn't quite deliver on his vision. He compromised on a lot of things. He tried to, put the money in his coffers. But if a few things go a different way and he sticks it out, we're writing a whole different
Would have
John
been
DeLorean
interesting. Would have been
story.
interesting. Would have been interesting. Yeah.
That old lady would still be broke and robbed, though, is what
Yes, he did that when he was a
that
GM. We know.
that's more important. I
Yeah, but nobody
th-
be interviewing Hillel 11 right now. Nobody be reading Hillel 11 books. I mean, maybe they would, but
that's okay.
He would have found some other
Yeah.
goy to go after. Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? The joy that, whatever joy it brings people to, get together biannually or however many times to, bring their cars
Talk
together.
about their favorite whip.
Yeah, geez.
so I think what I learned tonight is I need to find more shitheads that I can bring to the show, and I can defend. I'll play the defend the shithead game with you guys.
William likes to
Defend-
do that too. Yeah.
Defend Hitler, Dan.
You know what? There must always be. You're playing the paraclete right now. Someone's got to play, defense whenever
Yeah.
anyone's getting shit talked, just for the sake of.
Yeah. There's got to be a dissenting opinion.
Absolutely. And
Like Scott, if you had
appreciate
if I could offer you a DeLorean right now and park it out front of your house, you'd be pretty.
I wouldn't even.
jazzed
I
up,
wouldn't
you?
even hesitate. I wouldn't even. I would love that. My dad's buddy, high school best friend, actually has a DeLorean to this day,
Oh wow!
and it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest car.
what
Yeah.
do you like, Dan? Well, I don't know if we're now. I'll save that for after. I don't know if we're wrapping up, but
We're wrapping up. I just wanted to get one more. I forgot to mention this is of course the comment. It's better than gold, Which I think what he
yeah.
meant to say is like by weight, it's worth more than
Yeah.
gold. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, which is factual. Or at the
Correct.
time. Now I don't think so, by the way. I think Coke is not cheap. It's certainly, I don't know if it exists anymore. I think they just replaced it with fentanyl. But regardless, gold is nearly nothing that's worth more than gold in the world because of the inflation situation.
The inflation situation sounds like a Broadway play that the
Autistic
DeLorean.
libertarians with Asian wives would go to.
Yeah, someone in a DeLorean with a bumper sticker would drive and double park to go see.
Right.
Um,
But yeah, I think we covered him pretty good. Yeah, he died in 2005, modestly well off. I think he was able to sell, he was able to do like appearances and stuff and be like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm DeLorean. Here,
yeah,
shake my hand and get an autograph, like George Takai,
that would be
that kind of
$13.
situation. Probably, I wouldn't be
Yeah, he
surprised.
goes to the equivalent of the Star Trek convention for the DeLorean people.
Yes.
Yeah, no, so
Signs
if Star
autographs.
Treks are Trekkies or
Yeah.
Trekkers, what would be the DMC heads? What would that be?
The lunatics.
The
Uh,
lunatics. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. That was good on the fly. I think it's pretty good. But
on the
yeah, I think
Marty
that we
McFly.
Oh,
What?
dude, you're on a roll. You
McFlies.
have to keep the tape rolling. You're on a roll right now.
Like a $2 pistol over here. That's good. Dan, what do you like for an automobile? What's your taste? What's your I hate cars more than Scott doesn't care about
I
cars.
don't care
I'm
for them,
sick
but
of
I
them.
think you actually really don't like them. Yeah.
I'm sick of them.
I mean, like, are we talking dream cars or just what I practically
Uh,
what I want?
Nah,
I'm a Toyota
we're
guy.
talking
I've driven
DeLorean
Toyotas
dream
since I
cars.
was a teenager. Like, I think they're the fucking best car. They're dependable. Never had an issue that I didn't create myself.
I'm a
So
Honda enjoyer.
oh, nice.
I got a 21 Honda. Nice car.
I was
Actually,
thinking
yeah.
dream cars though.
Okay,
If
dream
we,
cars.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
My
with you on
hybrid
Toyota.
RAV4 is not all the sexiest car in the world, but it's nice on gas.
Mhm.
Dream
I
car. Man, I kind
I
of
got
like
a
a core. Sorry.
I have a good answer. That's all I was gonna say. Go ahead. What's yours?
No, you go first.
Okay, my answer is you're gonna think it's silly, but you know those like little Mazda like key cars they call them? It's like a little tiny truck, like a little tiny flatbed Japanese truck that like farmers carry like
the mini
their
trucks.
the mini trucks. Yeah, the little
Yeah.
Oh,
baby
cool.
cars.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's my dream vehicle, yes.
Those are those are getting very popular.
Yeah, they just
For good
legalized them to
reason.
be in America, so.
Yeah. Um, okay, that's fun. What do you got, Dan?
Dan,
What's your
what's your
dream
answer?
car?
Yeah, I mean,
What's pulling
I'm
up
so
to the
boring with.
stop?
I'm not a car guy. I was gonna say Corvette. I don't know. Just like I don't know.
Okay.
Just that's kind of like an American sort of answer, I guess. You know, I, I don't know. I was kind of like in. I was feeling the Cybertruck. I'm not gonna lie. When it first got
Oh
dropped,
no.
No.
get a plaid
The
Cybertruck.
cyber cuck, more like.
I got to answer that when we're doing a DeLorean episode. I got to say the Cybertruck because I mean
I
that's
guess
like
that is like the modern day equivalent. Yeah. Don't
definitely
sully this
derivative.
the DeLorean. Yeah, don't sully the DeLorean with
No,
this
no.
gay ass shit.
We'll stick with Corvette. We'll stick with Corvette. Nice,
All right, that's a
nice
man's
muscle machine.
answer.
A man
Yeah.
answer, yeah.
And
I
Patrick,
may
of course, you asked the question. What's your dream
I
car if you had to pick?
I only
The
asked so I
Leather
could
Express.
answer.
The Leather Express is your dream
Ideally,
vehicle.
yeah, the interior is leather because frankly, I like a pimp mobile more than
Well,
anything.
no,
Nothing.
the Leather Express means you're walking.
You think my boots are made of actual leather? What do you think I
It's
am?
just okay, man.
The
I'll
king
tell
of
you about a
He
Siam?
doesn't
Corvette.
even get references, folks. He doesn't even get old peopleisms. He doesn't see
I'm
no
walking.
movie, and he doesn't even get old people aphorisms.
Oh God. Let me tell you right now. I like a pimp mobile. I like any like Oldsmobiles, Cadillacs,
There
shit
you
like
go.
that. And I
That sounds
Like a
good.
Dr. Dre, like
doesn't have
dump the
I'd
wheels.
rather it not do that. That's one more thing that will break.
That would
But
be cool.
yeah, the Toyota actually made a limousine, like a mini limousine. called the Toyota Century. 97 is probably a good
Oh,
year.
I got a new answer. I want the Pope Mobile. I like the Pope Mobile.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I have a lot of enemies. Yeah, you got to watch out for Rick trying to take pot shots at you with his Taurus.
How about the Oscar Mayer Wiener Mobile?
Oh my God, what? That was on the table? That's definitely the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Clearly. But anyway, we're now into shit content territory, so let's get the hell out of here.
The kosher Mayer
Dan,
winner.
nice podcast, Stupid, on wherever you find podcasts. Also available on YouTube Thursday nights, live at 8 p.m. Generally speaking, but not every
Yes,
week.
you got it. I took July off, but I'll be back in August. So yeah, 8 p.m. Thursday nights live. And yeah, we definitely gotta get you back on the show sometime. We'd love to have you back, Scott.
I'm down. And yes, follow a nice podcast, Dan, on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice name, Stupid, on Twitter.
Nice name, Stupid. Yes, that's right. So follow Dan everywhere, and please patronize his podcast for all of your finest Rick drama updates and Dabbleverse updates, if that's your thing. It's not mine, frankly, but listen, every different strokes, different folks. So for us, www.historyhomos.com is the RSS feed. We're also available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Rockfin, and Odyssey. And most importantly, we're available at Substack. That's historyhomospod.substack.com. That's the most important link. Please go over there and sign up for our Substack. We are currently 20 on the rising list of Substacks, history Substack specifically. And if with your help, we could take down
Glenn Greenwald. Watch out, Glenn Greenwald.
I think that's on Grindr, if I'm not mistaken, not Substack. But no, we'll be taking down Curtis Yarvin if all goes well. Ooh. He is number 2 on the history board of Substack. So let's please get more subs than that Mishling a country ruiner. Yeah, what else? So please go over there. And if you like the show, if you like this episode, you get 100% more show. It's not goes from 1 episode a week free to 2 episodes a week on Substack. And it's not just, we're not going to hit stop right now and go, all right, shit, what the hell are we going to talk about this week? No, me and Patrick have a plan of what we're going to talk about tomorrow. It's very exciting. I'm not going to give a spoiler, but it's you're going to like this one. And it'll be out on every Thursday. It's a bonus episode at in the afternoon, nighttime time period. But regardless, please, if you like the show, that's the best way to support it. So it's historyhomospod.substack.com. If you want to chat with the other listeners of the show, come to the Telegram chat. t.me/historyhomos is the channel, and t.me/historyhomos chat is the chat. Please join us. Lots of fun. If you get in there, remember you got to say a slur as soon as you enter. Otherwise, we'll kick you out, assuming you're an Indian scammer. Now, if you want to follow us across social media at History Homos Pod, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you'd like to buy a History Homos t-shirt, which I have right here, still decent amount of sizes left, and they're not going anywhere, folks. It's got Uncle Ted on it, and please buy a t-shirt. So email me at historyhomos@gmail.com for that size and address. Die with dignity. Patrick, what have you prepared to say goodbye to the people?
Great Scott. No, that's not it. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Yeah, that's it.
Later, homos.